incredible transformation that we will see is AI. 100%. The decision making around digital shelf execution is not human. It's too much. Not a single person can navigate through this data and make a decision. I think this is now overwhelming.
So you can make your digital shelf look like a 5-star page, but if you cannot measure the commercial impact, if you cannot find these nuances and what action you need to take, it's only half successful. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ecommert Podcast. Today on a Friday, we're at the Shalion's New York offices with the founder and CEO, Germán Loewe. Germán, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
I was looking forward to this day. We worked with Shalion on a couple of occasions in the past. I ran into your team in a lot of conferences, but it's really nice to see you in Manhattan in person, and I'm excited for this episode today.
Fantastic, so am I.
I've heard you have a very dynamic and interesting career. Some highlights in the academic area and great success in the entrepreneurial area. I'm all ears to hear it from you. Please walk us through your journey.
Okay, thank you. Well, no, yeah, true. So I did have a career in academia around decision science, which I'm super passionate about.
Still a student myself.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, no, it's I've been doing this. Well, my PhD was all about decision science, intertemporal decision making. So it's interesting topic. And then I moved into the research industry, right? I started a company in the early days of the internet. So we started in the year 2000, with a solution for online surveys. So basically consumer data and consumer research. And that company we scaled, and we had a very interesting journey. Then we ended up not only doing service, but also observing, let's say, obtaining clickstream data from consumers that allowed us to make sense of their digital behavior, right? Okay. And that's what also brought me to the e-commerce space, because we were observing purchases in our client, let's say, consumer panels. Right. That's how they were called, and I thought, well, Jesus, this is great, because we now can make sense and make statistics and understand the decision making process of consumers. So I moved into the e-commerce world. I think it was basically 2014.
Right when it started accelerating.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And then in the meantime, in 2016, we exited the company. The company was called NetQuest. We exited the company to GfK, and then that ended up in Nielsen. So Nielsen acquired GfK later. And I stepped out because I wanted desperately to do this e-commerce thing, and that's how Shalion started. So
you made the shift from consumer intelligence to market and brand intelligence.
100%, and maybe there's even a reason for it, because from the consumer side in this survey world, which I was very passionate and am still very passionate about, but in a way I kept seeing this retail data space in market research. Oh, that I have never done. And it feels like it's a powerful thing. It's a valuable thing. I saw the biggest companies in the world, the Nielsen's, the GfKs, doing that. So I thought, well, that must be interesting.
But that's something interesting for me, because of my personal challenges or questioning sometimes. I find myself asking, I only work with CPG brands and manufacturing companies. I never work with direct individuals or consumers gathering data from millions of inputs. How did you make the shift? So you make the first entrepreneurial move with the NetQuest, and then you sold it to the biggest of the world like Nielsen. And then now you're working with enterprise companies with Shalion, and suddenly all the data you analyze and insights you generate shifted from individual level to corporate level. How did you manage this shift?
This is a great point. So from the early days in digital data collection in the space that I was in this consumer space, we realized that, well, there is a technology for collecting data in the digital world out of consumers, right? That technology kind of is connected, let's put it this way, to the technology that allows you to obtain retail data nowadays, right? There is a connection. There's a strong connection. It's not entirely the same thing, of course, but the learning curve that we went through in my previous company for 19 years, I spent 19 years in that company. We built an incredible team in digital data collection, and we were strong, we were experienced. And then for the last 5 years, we were doing already the e-commerce specific data, so the purchase data. We were observing the customer journeys in retailers and so on. So when I started Shalion, it felt very very natural, because we were very rapid in understanding, oh, this is what we need to do, this is the type of technology that we need to develop, and these are the challenges that we will face in 5 years from today, which is now. And I think it worked.
Is the goalpost moving faster than you predicted in this 5 years window, or you catch all the predictions at the right time, right moment?
I don't think so. I would say, good question. I don't know if it's as predicted or a bit faster. What is for 100% sure is when we started, I brought my team, I brought several people from NetQuest, so the great talent from NetQuest, and we got together, and after a year doing this retail data thing, we realized, hey, this is going to have an incredible complexity. Right. It's going to have an incredible complexity. We rather build now a future-proven, deep, flexible solution, right? And I think we got that right. I think honestly we got that right, because there was a quick and dirty way of doing things, which other...
There always is, yes.
There always is, right? But it's also not myself, if I can say this. Maybe I'm a little bit of a German guy, which I am. And it's not the way I think. The way I need to think is we need to create things that build to last. This is one of the
engineering, precision, and endurance. The German trademarks, I guess.
I do have some Spanish side to this.
Good for speed and agility, right?
Right, but no. But we at Shalion, we also have this build to last value, which very much resonates with me. So we create things that are built to last, and the technology was the in the core of the strategy of the company.
Then I've been visiting a lot of conferences every year. I'm running into the Shalion team members, and we're in most of the global conferences and conventions. We're partnering officially with them. And wherever we go, whatever market we tap into, I always find a couple of clients exploring or using Shalion. So it gives me the impression that you have a global footprint or you're tracking global markets. But walk me through, how do you overcome the challenge of acquiring data from different level of maturity of markets, different level of data availability of markets, and how you become this global solution providing insights to enterprise at multi-regional level?
No, well, I think it's flexibility and scale in a way, right? And also there's a strong innovation piece in what we're doing. We need to cope, of course, with all the changes. Say, imagine the geo thing now from SEO into this GEO thing. This is an example of the requirement for companies like us to keep all the time, let's say, catching up with what's new, what's changing, how things are changing. So there is this element, but mostly you need flexibility and scalability. And the good thing, this connects with what I just said. So because we were built as a core super tech team in digital data collection, I would say we did the right investment in the beginning, and that allowed us to have this flexibility and scalability. So in a way, we're doing over 2,000 retailers in the world. We're doing geolog gathering in thousands of locations for one retailer, which is a gigantic, let's say, data challenge, and also with all this incredible flexibility in what type of data we collect, when, which frequency. We can have different frequencies in this retailer, different frequencies in that use case, different gathering for maybe retail media data than for availability data. So it's a very, very flexible, powerful platform.
I will change my hat now, because up until 3 years ago, I was one of your prospective clients. Okay. And I was demoing products like Shalion 3 times a week on my day-to-day enterprise job when I was managing e-commerce P&L for brands I work for. And we tend to find ourselves most of the time back then, there are a tremendous level of data becoming available to us by the tools and products we bring into our tech stack. But then it's like a needle in a haystack to find the actionable insights, the right KPIs, right level of recommendations sometimes as the technology grows in those solutions. Can you give me a couple of examples? Now we're in 2026, almost. And to your point, GEO is a real thing now. We forget SEO and SMO. Retail media algorithms is already in the past. Now we're talking about how we can rank our products organically in an LLM query in the top 1-2 recommendations, not even a digital shelf anymore. How I would evaluate, if I were a VP of e-commerce, Shalion's KPIs in this fast-moving world? Where would I get the best insights?
Okay, so number one, let me start by saying you're completely right in assessing. I think the entire industry has seen this, and we in the space have also seen this, that this gigantic data set, despite you can make a big effort into, let's say, translating or synthesizing all these data into dashboards that make sense, and then those dashboards get even further synthesized in KPIs that make sense. Right. Okay, so we try to reduce the complexity in a way through this synthesis, but still, one size does not fit all. No way. And what I have seen also personally, I don't know how much you have seen the same, is that probably this space started driven by global teams, newborn global teams wanting to standardize or homogenize, or at least have let's say a view on what performance was looking like through markets and through different retailers. And because this was driven by these global newborn teams, in a way that was a bit of an original sin, I would say, because then there was a certain disconnect with how these teams wanted to make their lives easier to, try to understand, legitimately so, by the way. And so this is also super valuable for these large brands, right? To have this broader picture of what's going on. But the local teams and the local CAMs and all these people, the trade people and everyone locally executing, I think they felt a bit of a disconnect with how to manage and take profit from this gigantic database, right? So if I pick what I've understood is your question is, how would Shalion look at this problem, right? And we have gone the standard journey, so we gather the data, process the data, and then come up with these KPIs and dashboards and so on. But listen, I have a clear view on this. So the solution, and I would say more than the solution, the incredible transformation that we will see is AI, 100%, because AI is transforming, and this is already happening at Shalion, and I'm super proud of it, and I can see it, and our clients already are seeing this. This is transforming these type of challenges that we just mentioned, because number one, you can, through a conversation, you can pull any insight that you happen to need in that particular moment without the need to navigate through this.
Nobody has weight anymore.
No. So that's something that pull. This is super easy. But then we're moving very rapidly into new dimensions. So this is moving on from monitoring KPIs into, hey, can we model incrementality towards sales? And through that, can the AI also recommend to my local teams? And yes, they can, right? It can. And this is what we are seeing. This is the transformation that I would see. And this is why I believe Shalion is now emerging maybe as a bit of a different type of company in this space, because we were very, let's say, very early in this transformation.
Everybody is. I mean, all of us, probably 15,000 executives or mid-managers of e-commerce in the brand side, and there's another 15, 20,000 on the product development side. We're all in our nascency. I can attest to that. It's been just 3-4 years. AI became an actionable power. But you touched upon a very interesting and important subject, which I've experienced firsthand. Digital shelf performance, digital product performance doesn't always equate e-retail execution. So I interpret this as a commercial performance. So you can make your digital shelf look like a 5-star page, but if you cannot measure the commercial impact, if you cannot find these nuances and what action need to take, it's only half successful. Am I interpreting right?
100%.
Right. Because we lived this era 4 or 5 years ago. We had a lot of digital shelf products came to market, measuring content compliance, measuring content accuracy, but they were not tied to specific product detail page algorithms across 300 retailers, and there was no cookie cutter bug solution for these. Now we came to realization that, okay, to your point, we need predictive and even prescriptive recommendations from tools measuring our digital shelf to impact our retail media and to impact our commerce. Now, I know, of course, I'm coming to teeing it up for your previous conversation we had with the coffee early in the morning. How are you helping me as someone holding a P&L at a consumer brand today to differentiate content performance and tie it to my commercial performance? How am I combining those two?
Look, the key is the following. So, in my view, what I've seen in this industry from the very early days in Clavis and companies like that started.
Don't reveal our age, please.
Okay. Maybe I can reveal yours. But anyway, in the early days, this was all about content and compliance and blah, blah, blah. So that was almost equivalent to digital shelf.
Right.
Then I would say there was the focus moved into the assortment problem and availability problem, which is very closer to the execution, I would say.
Online and stock availability,
right.
Fulfillment time.
That's closer to the execution, much closer, right? And then it extended into this retail media also understanding, which connects to execution, but hey, all of a sudden this is mostly an execution that happens outside of the ecom team and sits in the agency team to an extent. Okay, so
we're compliant. We're also complacent too. We rely on our agencies and we let them to do things for us. There was a time for that too.
Right, but things are now converging because in a way, and this was my next point. So this is all good. So we, in this space, we have coped with all these three elements. But the missing piece in the past 10 years, I would say, for digital shelf solutions and for you, the brands, has been, okay, connect the dots, connect this to my sales performance, and give me incrementality recommendations. Tell me what to do.
Yes.
So a client, like I discussed this with our client officer months ago, I would say last year, and I said, what are our clients saying? And she told me they asked us to tell them what to do, tell their teams what to do, right? Not how they are doing. It's
what the next step.
What should I be doing? Because, and this now let me put a little bit of this decision science thing. The decision making around digital shelf execution is not human.
No.
It's too much.
With too many data points,
Yeah.
the amount of data.
Absolutely.
Retailers.
I mean, you know what I mean, right? So maybe it's one of these copilot type of stories, but it's not only human. So not a single person can navigate through this data and make a decision. I think this is now overwhelming, and we need the AI to support us and to say, well, on average, doing this type of promotion here in this moment will drive most sales for you, or on average, you should double your let's say bid in these keywords in spring, because this is when these keywords flourish. So this is too much. I mean, there's no team that can cope with that.
And especially for a product catalog, let's assume any mid-level or first-tier consumer brand with more than 20 brands across even one market. They have thousands and thousands of SKUs and ASINs. And how are you going to scale and optimize the content at accurate levels, etc.? To your point, predictive capability, prescriptive capability of AI is a no-brainer, but it takes time to fine-tune these capabilities and to make sense from category to category, because OTC is different than food and beverage, or beauty and cosmetics is different than do-it-yourself home development, etc. That's why I call it still in nascency, because those models need to develop those kind of expertise as well. It's not going to happen with early stage of Gen AI, from what I see. Now, I want to untap some big potential KPIs, because let's look at a digital shelf cheat sheet, and I think we can both agree that there's 30, 40 KPIs you can measure any given day for a digital shelf reporting tool. But are every e-commerce team spending same effort and focus on 40 KPIs? Probably no. They're looking at top 5, top 10. What are the overlooked KPIs that you think, as a founder and data scientist, as well as a tech product as Shalion, are there any overlooked KPIs in this big sheet of list that companies can pay more attention, or some of the data capabilities, AI capabilities make those KPIs more impactful? Is there any gold finds here and there?
We did a research internally and for a large client of ours, and the research showed something quite surprising. It showed that probably we are putting a bit too much focus on the content KPIs.
Okay, because it's easy to scale.
And a bit too little on the more paid visibility KPI. So the keyword, what I have experienced from my angle and with our clients, what I see is that probably, well, most likely because the e-com teams are not managing themselves the media for the retailers. This is producing that they care too little about keyword visibility and everything about it. What I've experienced and what I see and what we have measured is that actually paid visibility by keyword, understanding that in depth, is, I think, an estimated KPI, and brands would benefit massively from looking at this. We are now developing, extending our solution in there with the measurement of traffic of keywords, therefore also seasonality of keywords, so creating a little bit of demand dynamics for the brands. Say, hey, you need to be present in these keywords in those moments in the year. But yeah, the agencies are dealing with the campaigns, right, and the brand is asking digital shelf providers, hey, give me 20 big keywords to monitor. And their agency maybe is playing on 300.
Any given day.
Yes, 300 campaigns, super sophisticated campaigns, but the brand teams have a little bit of a disconnect there, and that might be impacting massively.
This episode is brought to you by Commerce Media Summit, a key event that will unite brands, agencies, and platforms to shape the future of commerce media for 2026. Excited to meet us at industry events next year? Scan the QR code to view the full event calendar kit.